Hello, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing? If this is your first time meeting me, my name is Nneka. I live in the south of England. I grow most of my vegetables at an allotment garden not far from my home. But at my home kitchen garden here, I also grow vegetables and some fruits. Today's video is mainly about showing you how I make my homemade or organic fertilizer mix. Now, why use fertilizer? Because I do use homemade compost. I also have vermicomposting, so I use a worm farm. And then, yeah, we also use horse manure. Why make organic fertilizer? Simply because our soil today is depleted. And when you're growing your own food, you really want to ensure that you give your soil the best chance and get the best nutrients out of the soil. Basically, getting the nutrient-rich, high nutrient-dense foods. Okay, you know, I talk always about healing the body. If you're eating foods that are depleted, then your body will not heal as well. So what we're doing, we're trying to use as much natural things that are there to, you know, enrich our soil. Obviously, back in the day, like growing up in Africa, my ancestors never did any of this. They did use a bit of chicken manure here and there, but growing a big farm, you didn't need to do this. But this is a home garden and I can manage this. So I'll encourage you as well, if you have a little home garden, to give your soil the best possible chance and ideally use organic fertilizers. Now, we're starting with some chicken manure pellets. They're just basically dry chicken manure. Westland says it's organic, so we trust that that's organic. If you can't get this dried manure pellet, just make sure you go for well rotted chicken manure. I also get that sometimes from a local farm, but this has got really a good boost. What's the Npk ratio? I believe it is 4.5, 3.5 and 2.5, so it is a well balanced fertilizer. Homemade compost is about 1:1:1, which is also really good. That's equal of everything. Okay, we're also going to be using some rock dust. Now this is, I'll show you what it looks like. This is basically a volcanic mineral dust, right? This volcanic mineral dust is just essentially trying to remineralize our soil, and it really helps improve the soil structure as well. So we're going to use 1 scoop of this. Okay, I don't really have exact measurements, but I use it based on amount of other things I have. When you're making this though, make sure you just mix the whole lot properly to ensure that everything is sort of well at an equal ratio. And then we have some seaweed granules. Okay, seaweed granules, I'll show you what it looks like. I use a couple scoops of this. It's basically, I think, a mixture of sea vegetables. I also use a kelp powder. I mainly make a liquid fertilizer with this, mostly for transplant shock and foliar feeding. So this is a kelp you can actually ingest yourself, but this one I wouldn't. I've never tried taking this internally. I don't think it's for internal use. I think it's just for external use. So 2 scoops of those. Now we also need some blood, fish and bone. This is also a well balanced manure. What does it say? It's a ratio of 5:5:6. So that's what it's recommended. This is not an organic. It doesn't say it's, when I say organic, like from organic fish and blood and stuff, but it's an organic material, so it's made from animal products. So I'm gonna use 2 of these, basically equal amounts of the blood, fish and bone to equal amount of the chicken manure. So just make sure everything is well incorporated, right? So that's the second one. Wilco's, which is where I bought this, are the cheapest ones. They're about £2 for 1.5 kilos. Still not really cheap, but then we're gonna be using like 1 of these scoops when it's mixed, 1 scoop per hole. So especially for our hungry plants like tomatoes, peppers, sweet corn, squashes. Squashes, I probably use 2 of these, so per hole, planting hole. Okay. Now I also have some egg shells. I've really crushed this nicely. I'll show you what it looks like. That is a really fine eggshell. Obviously blood, fish and bones got calcium, but this is my homemade eggshell I've just been storing, and I use that as well. Now we give this a mix before we add our chicken manure. Just make sure everything is mixed up nicely. Then finally, we'll be adding some magnesium chloride flakes. Now, this is similar to Epsom salt, but I think it's got more magnesium in it. So I add a little scoop. Don't add too much of this because you can actually burn your plants if you add too much. And then we go in with the chicken manure. So this would last me all season. I mainly put it at the time when I plant, and then maybe later on in the season I can top dress if needed. But then I have warm castings, like I said, I use, and also we always use homemade manure as much as we have available to, you know, put as a mulch when we before we plant, sort of in the winter months. All right. So it's all mixed nicely now, I believe. I'll probably give it another good stir when I shut the lid because it's a bit dusty. Yeah, this is what I will do. I just keep this. It's sealed, so if you have rodents at the allotment, just keep it somewhere where it's nice and sealed and you won't have trouble with rodents. And whenever I go planting, I take this bucket with me and I use one of these or one of that, depending on what I have. So a small scoop. This is an old ice cream scoop, and that would really make a difference, trust me, to your growing and give you nutrient rich, even delicious, and they're actually disease resistant. When they're well fed, well, you know, manured, they actually are disease resistant. So what's not to love? Try and let me know what you do for your own homemade fertilizer or your own DIY fertilizer mix if you do one. Thank you so much if you've watched till this point. Let me know what other content you would like to see about my garden. The garden is always busy. Here is just a very small garden, like I said, and at the allotments we do grow a lot of vegetables. Oh my God, we grow pretty much everything. We're trying to be self-sufficient, or even if it's not fully self-sufficient, as much as we can grow. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comment section what you learned the most or what you liked the most. And once again, see you in another video. And if you have not, can you please kindly hit that subscribe button? It won't cost you anything, and it will just help my videos to reach more people, and also helps get people to get this information to them easily. People like you and people like me, and also help the channel grow. So thank you. I'm blabbing, but thank you. I really appreciate you. Bye bye. See you soon.